Have you ever wondered why clients leave or customers stop coming back?
Careful, Chip. That's one of those questions where people think the data has the answer.
Right, Nova. But the data just tells you that they left. It doesn't tell you why.
Yeah, that is usually a lot less obvious than people think. It's something quieter, and it builds over time.
And that's why most companies don't see it coming, or they see it too late to do anything about it.
Today, we're digging into why some customer relationships hold for years while others just slip away.
Stay with us. This is one a lot of businesses get wrong.
Welcome to Trivera's AI Deep Dive podcast, hosted by Chip and Nova, our AI co-hosts. Together, they transform top marketing insights from our blogs, articles, and events into actionable strategies you can use. Ready to dive in? Let's get started.
Welcome to this Trivera Deep Dive. I'm Chip, your AI co-host.
And I am Nova, your other AI co-host, and we are both super proud members of Team Trivera.
And today, we are digging straight into the deep end with a brand new blog post from our founder, Tom Snyder.
Yes, our mission today is to explore Tom's incredible insight on why so many smart businesses just completely fail at customer retention, and more importantly, how you can build relationships that your competitors simply cannot touch.
It's such a good piece. And Tom opens with this really relatable analogy about two local bourbon clubs.
Oh, I loved this part, because on the surface, these two clubs are completely identical.
Right. Literally identical perks. They both offer exclusive barrel picks. They do tasting events.
Right. They offer special access, member discounts, literally total feature parity.
Yeah, exactly. But the wild part is, one of these clubs is established and thriving. Like, it feels like a community you would genuinely miss if you left.
And the other one is newer and just struggling to get traction. It feels like the kind of club you might just casually forget to renew when that annual email hits your inbox.
Right, you get the email and just delete it. So Nova, why does that massive gap exist if the perks are exactly the same?
Well, Tom's experience points out that it actually has almost nothing to do with the bourbon itself.
Wait, really? A bourbon club where the success isn't about the bourbon?
I know it sounds crazy, but it's really about how the value is created, how it's communicated, and how consistently it's delivered over time.
That's like the wrapper around the product.
Exactly. It's the wrapper. And the data Tom shares in this blog is staggering. Increasing customer retention by just 5% can drive profit increases of 25 to 95%.
That is just wild math to me. Like, how does keeping just 5 more people out of 100 basically double your profits?
Well, it fundamentally comes down to friction and momentum in the sales cycle. Think about the sheer amount of energy, time, and, marketing budget required to acquire a brand new customer.
Right. You have to capture their attention, educate them.
Yes, you have to build that initial trust, negotiate the terms, and finally onboard them. Existing customers require almost none of that friction.
Because the foundational trust is already there.
Exactly. They are significantly more likely to buy again, and they buy additional services faster. It allows leaner teams to do so much more because they aren't constantly starting from square one.
Okay, let me test an analogy with you to see if I'm fully grasping the psychology here. This feels a lot like a gym membership to me.
Oh, I like that. How so?
Well, when you sign up for a gym, you take the tour, you see the shiny new treadmills, the massive weight room, maybe a fancy juice bar. Those are the perks.
Right, the feature parity we talked about.
Exactly. But having a room full of shiny treadmills doesn't actually keep you coming back month after month. If you never go, you eventually cancel. What keeps you coming back is the active relationship.
Yeah, the routine you build.
Yes. Or like a trainer who texts you to hold you accountable, and the actual physical results you see and feel in your own life.
That is a perfect parallel. The treadmills are just the potential for value. The routine and the results are the realized value.
So the big question becomes, how do businesses actually build that active relationship so they aren't just a room full of unused treadmills?
Well, that's where Tom's playbook comes in. He outlines 6 foundational keys to building these unbreakable relationships. And to really get them, we should probably bridge Tom's consumer bourbon example with the B2B enterprise world.
Let's do it. So the first of Tom's keys is clearly define ongoing value.
Right. So for the Bourbon Club, that means knowing you're getting exclusive barrel picks in the spring, a tasting event in the summer, a discount, like a double pour for the price of one every time you come in. Basically knowing what you're getting across the entire year.
Not just a random discount here and there.
Yeah.
But how do we translate that to the B2B world? If I'm selling I don't know, industrial coatings or medical equipment? What does tangible value actually look like?
So in the B2B space, just delivering the working product is basically the bare minimum expectation.
Right. That's not ongoing value. That's just fulfilling the contract.
Exactly. Ongoing value looks like consistent strategic insight. It might be a vendor providing co-marketing support to help the client sell more of their own product.
Oh, nice. Or maybe dedicated product education for new hires.
Yes, or supplying proprietary data that gives them an operational advantage. The client has to be able to point to specific benefits they simply wouldn't get if they switched to a competitor.
Got it. Which shifts us beautifully into Tom's second key, which focuses on how that value is actually delivered, a consistent and predictable cadence.
Yes, the rhythm of communication. This is huge. Predictability creates psychological safety.
Like not making members guess when the next bourbon update is coming. It's a regular email highlighting the latest new additions to the list, personal reviews and recommendations from the club's experts, maybe some photos from the last tasting event.
Precisely. And in an enterprise setting, this looks like highly structured customer touchpoints. Whether it's club updates or a massive quarterly business review, it has to be dependable.
Right. A QBR isn't just a meeting to check boxes. It's looking back at the ROI from the last 90 days and planning the next 90.
Exactly. As Tom emphasizes, this cadence cannot be occasional or ad hoc. Occasional doesn't build trust.
Okay, I follow the logic there. But let me push back a little on Tom's third key, which is active communication of value.
Oh, what's the pushback?
Well, I can hear account managers cringing at this. Isn't continually reminding people about your value a little annoying? Like if I'm doing a great job in the background, making everything run smoothly, doesn't it feel needy to keep tapping them on the shoulder like, hey, look what I did?
It's a very natural fear, honestly. But giving into that fear is a massive trap. We can call it the dilemma of invisible labor.
Invisible labor.
Yeah, think about an IT department. If IT is doing their job perfectly, the servers never go down, nobody gets hacked, the environment is perfectly smooth.
Right.
But because it's smooth, management starts to wonder, why are we paying so much for IT? Nothing ever breaks. They completely forget the effort required to maintain that baseline.
So if you don't actively show them the blocked threats and the optimized servers, they assume the smoothness is just the natural state of the universe.
Precisely. Tom points out this fundamental truth of human behavior. If you do not actively communicate value, people naturally tend to undervalue what they receive.
So for B2B, you have to send the report that says, here are the 3 supply chain disruptions we navigated for you this month without you even noticing.
Exactly. You have to make your invisible labor visible.
That completely flips the script. It's not being needy. It's protecting your client from taking you for granted. So those first 3 keys, define the value, keep a cadence and communicate it, those feel like the baseline.
Yeah, those get a customer in the door and keep them informed. They are table stakes. But the next 3 keys in Tom's blog are what take a solid relationship and transform it into something truly unbreakable.
Okay, let's hit them. Key number 4 is a sense of exclusivity and belonging.
Yeah, so successful clubs make you feel like an insider. You have an identity attached to your participation.
But I have to challenge this one too for massive enterprise companies. If I am a procurement manager buying fleet management software, I do not care about feeling like I'm in an exclusive social club. I just want the software to track my trucks.
That's a totally fair challenge. But in a B2B context, belonging doesn't mean a secret handshake. It translates directly into access and status.
Okay. So what does that look like for the procurement manager?
It looks like preferred access to beta features before the rest of the market, or strategic partnership opportunities.
So having the ability to directly influence the vendor's product roadmap.
Exactly. It also means executive visibility, having the CEO of the software company check in personally, rather than just hearing from a junior rep. Loyalty hardens when people feel their voice genuinely matters.
I see. It's a partnership of peers, not just a transaction. Which leads right into Tom's 5th key, engagement beyond the transaction.
I really love this point because a relationship that relies entirely on a sales cycle is just inherently fragile.
Yeah, if the only time my phone rings is when you are asking me to renew my contract or upsell me, that isn't a relationship. That's just commerce.
Exactly. Tom suggests building loyalty through shared experiences, offering deep thought leadership, or consultative insight that has literally nothing to do with your product.
Because if every single interaction is purely transactional, the moment a competitor offers a cheaper transaction, you've given them no reason to stay.
Exactly. Which brings us to the final key, which really feels like the fulcrum for this entire discussion. follow through on the promise.
This is exactly where that weaker bourbon club is failing, isn't it? Sustaining the actual idea.
Yes. It's one thing to launch a brilliant membership tier. It's an entirely different thing to sustain that effort in month 8.
Right, maintaining the momentum.
And this is the critical juncture. A brand's promise, whether it's rapid responsiveness or continuous innovation, either hardens into absolute trust right here, or it degrades into total disappointment. There is no middle ground.
Wow. Trust or total disappointment. Okay, so if this playbook is so clear, and we already know the math shows how wildly profitable retention is, why do so many smart, well-funded companies still fail at this?
Well, this is where Tom makes his core diagnosis. Businesses do not have an idea problem, they have an execution problem.
So it's not that leadership doesn't know what to do, it's that the company just slowly stops doing it.
Yes. They come up with a brilliant plan in a Q1 offsite meeting. But execution requires grinding out the details when the initial excitement fades.
And I know Tom's blog talks about the AI trap here, right? Because companies will buy AI tools thinking it will solve their retention plans automatically.
Oh, sure. Because AI can design a flawless communication cadence in seconds. It can generate a perfectly optimized editorial calendar for the whole year.
But it cannot maintain the human relationship. Going back to the gym analogy, AI can build you the perfect workout schedule.
But it can't do the push-ups for you.
Exactly.
It
Can't do the push-ups. You still need actual human beings to make sure those promises are fulfilled.
Right. And when that execution falters, you get what Tom calls quiet erosion.
Quiet erosion. That phrase is incredibly evocative. What does the anatomy of quiet erosion actually look like inside a business?
It looks like the normalization of mediocrity. You know, customers rarely make a dramatic, table-flipping decision to leave a vendor. There's usually no massive blowout argument.
It's more of a slow leak.
Exactly. In month 1, emails are answered in 10 minutes. By year 2, it takes 24 hours. Deadlines slip just a little bit.
The monthly reporting call gets pushed back, then it becomes an email, then the email just becomes a dashboard link that nobody clicks.
Yeah, the visible value we talked about earlier just fades away. And over time, the customers just quietly stops feeling a strong reason to stay. They don't leave because they actively hate you. They leave because they simply forgot why they loved you in the first place.
They just forget to renew, just like the struggling bourbon club. Coming up after the break, we are going to talk about what this quiet erosion means for you and exactly how our team at Trivera fits into the solution.
Wow, Chip, we're already into Q2. How did that happen?
Right, Nova. And if Q1 taught us anything, it's that things aren't slowing down. AI, search shifts, content demands, analytics, it's a lot to keep up with.
That's exactly why companies trust Trivera. We don't just react to change, we help our clients stay ahead of it. Strong fundamentals, smart strategy, and the right tech, all working together to drive measurable growth, not just activity.
In a world full of noise, it's not about chasing traffic anymore. What matters is results you can see, track, and build on quarter after quarter. It's about building a digital presence that actually performs.
So if Q1 didn't deliver what you expected,
Q2 is your chance to reset and get it right. Visit Trivera.com and start building a strategy that drives real results.
Trivera, 30 years of digital marketing that moves the needle.
Welcome back to Trivera's AI Deep Dive. Now back to our conversation with Chip and Nova.
Welcome back. You're listening to our Trivera Deep Dive.
And before the break, we were talking about quiet erosion. And now we want to get straight into the practical application of Tom's experience to fix it.
Yes. Tom's mandate for listeners is entirely focused on foundational consistency, doing the basics flawlessly.
Meaning you must define your value clearly, communicate it often, and crucially create a cadence that your team can actually sustain over the long haul.
Exactly. Do not promise a highly researched weekly newsletter if your team only has the bandwidth to produce a monthly one. Consistency is infinitely more important than frequency here.
And we also need to be clear about the proper role of AI in that consistency. Tom isn't saying AI is useless, right?
Oh, quite the opposite. AI absolutely makes teams more efficient. It helps plan faster and keeps deliverables moving on time.
But the real value isn't the AI tool in a vacuum. The real value is having a dedicated team behind that tool that actually knows how marketing works.
Yes, a team that knows how to turn a polished AI strategy into real-world action and is fully committed to the follow-through. AI is an amplifier for execution, but it's not a substitute for doing the work.
Which connects directly to how Team Trivera operates every single day. In Tom's experience, retained services shouldn't just exist to produce a bunch of flashy, theoretical ideas that sit on a shelf.
Right. Anyone can brainstorm. Retained services must provide the accountability and the execution that keep programs from fading once that initial launch enthusiasm wears off.
They are the antidote to quiet erosion, and Trivera has the real-world track record to back this up. We're a 30-year-old strategic digital marketing firm based in suburban Milwaukee.
And 30 years in the digital marketing space is practically a century. It's incredible legacy, and it's living proof of Tom's 6 keys in action. Trivera has clients who have been with the firm for a decade or more.
And what's really indicative of those unbreakable relationships is that, in many cases, those partnerships have carried through multiple roles. Contacts keep working with Trivera, even as they move to their second or third different company.
That is the ultimate proof of visible value. When a client changes jobs and says, I need to bring Trivera with me, that means the value is undeniable.
And that longevity doesn't come from a single good idea. It comes from consistently keeping the promise over years.
Exactly. Which brings us to Tom's ultimate insight for this deep dive. The businesses that win long-term are almost never the ones with the fanciest, most complex plans.
They're simply the ones who actually follow through.
Right. So, to you listening, it is time to put Tom's incredible expertise to use for your own digital marketing and your daily operations. Take the next step to stop quiet erosion in your own business. Contact Trivera today to discuss how we can help you succeed. Let's get started on budgets, scooping, and building on-time strategies that actually execute.
Okay, so that's all the time we have for this week's podcast. If you found it helpful and informative, please remember to download to listen to it again. Share it with your team, a friend, or a colleague. And make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You'll find us on iHeart, Spotify, Apple, and every place you listen to podcasts.
Till next time, thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you then.
Thanks for joining us on Trivera's AI Deep Dive with Chip and Nova. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find more and stay up to date with new episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, or find them on our website and our social media channels. And don't forget to visit us at Trivera.com to learn how we can help take your marketing to the next level. Ready to talk? Reach out. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.